Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make this card, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. When you purchase Stampin' Up! Products through me, you can earn free products. Check out my current customer appreciation products on my blog. The link is listed below in the description. Today, I'd like to share with you one of my cards that I created for the May Artisan Design Team Showcase. And this card is focused on the Flowers of Friendship bundle. And that includes the Flowers in Friendship stamp and the Flowers and Leaves punch. And they coordinate really nicely together. Today's card doesn't use the punch, but my second card, which I will share with you later, does use the punch, and I will link all of my Artisan Design Team Showcase projects up here in the top right corner so that you can see that when it is posted. So let's go ahead and start making this card. So the first fun thing that I want to share with you is that this card and the other card that I made for the showcase use the new 2021-2023 in colors. And so I wanted to introduce those to you. So we've got this beautiful purple called Fresh Freesia. Then I love this green. This one is my favorite color out of all five. This one's called Soft Succulent. And I've used it sometimes and it pulls green and sometimes it pulls blue. And so it's really a versatile color. This one is called Evening Evergreen and it's a really dark green, almost like a black. This one's called Polished Pink and it's a beautiful bright pink. And then this is the last color, which is Pale Papaya, and it's just got this really beautiful peachy orange color to it. And I've used all five colors here on my card. And then the blue I've used is Balmy Blue. And that's just to kind of create a nice sky feeling to the card. And so you'll need all six colors to create this card today. So the other fun thing that I've done for this card and for my other card as well is I created my own stamps. And so what I've done is if you look closely at the Flowers of Friendship stamp set, you'll notice that all the images are lined images and they don't have any inside color images. And so what I chose to do is to create my own stamps that go on the inside of all of the lined images. And so I'm going to show you how to do that today. So to do this technique, you are going to need some of the leftover rubber from the stamp set or another stamp set, that doesn't really matter. And you're going to need some of the leftover sticky labels. So you're going to take your image and you're going to use StazOn ink. And the reason you're going to use this is it's like a permanent ink and it doesn't come off of your rubber or the sticky label unless you used a special solvent to remove it. So this is a great ink to do this technique with because as you're working with it, it won't rub off. So what you're going to do is you're going to ink up each one of your images separately with StazOn. And then you will stamp in some of the larger areas between the that are left over from your other stamps. And so you can see here that I inked up this flower and then I stamped it in this section here. And that is on the red side of the rubber, there where you want to stamp. So then you will take a pair of paper snips. You want them to be an older pair because this is going to kind of add a lot of stickiness to your blades. And you're just going to come around and you're going to cut. First, I like to cut just kind of a wide cut around your image. So it doesn't need to be right up against that line. So you're just kind of generally cutting out the image here, just a nice bubble around it. Sometimes when you cut with rubber, you need to make short, straight cut lines. So you're just removing it from the excess. And now what you're going to do is you have layers here. So you have the rubber and the foam and then the adhesive. And you're going to take your paper snips and you're only going to remove the rubber and not the foam. And so you'll just add an angle, come up and around, and now this, you're going to cut a more detailed image here. And by just removing the rubber and not the foam, it's much easier to get a nice detailed cut. Again, work in short and kind of straight cut lines. So if you have something where you need to go around, then just kind of do it nice and slowly, and so that you can get that nice curved look, but you want to still try to focus on straight and short. So you'll see here that I'm kind of just doing little cuts as I'm working around this image. And again, I'm working at an angle, so I'm just cutting the rubber and leaving the foam. So you'll end up with something that looks like that. Next, you're going to take your label, and you'll notice that I've already used my labels for my stamped images. And what you want to do is you want to remove this paper backing on the excess so that you have the sticky part is exposed. And then you'll stamp the same image again in StazOn in one of those areas where you have the sticky part. This is kind of tricky because it is sticky. So you want to now cut with your paper snips a nice bubble again around your image. You do want to get a little bit close to the image, but just be careful because of how sticky everything is. So once you have that image, you're now going to match it up by removing this back paper. So this is the part that's going to go on the clear block. So you can just do that by adding it right to a clear block. And then you're going to take your stamp, the one that you just cut, remove that paper backing, and then you're just going to stamp this or attach it to that foam, just like you normally would on a regular stamp. And so now you have just created your very own inside image for these lined images for the Flowers of Friendship stamp set. And I just went ahead and did all of the images. So you can see here that some of that StazOn ink is starting to rub off, but because I have created the label, I know which image this goes with. So this one is the large flower in the grouping. Then I've got the medium flower and then the small flower. I've also done the large and small leaf. So here you can see the large leaf, and then if I flip it, I've got the small leaf. I'm going to be using all 5 handmade stamps to fill in my lined images for this card. So now that we've gotten that completed, let's go ahead and stamp the images. So to begin, I've got some pieces of basic white cardstock, and they've just been cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a good size to work with. I am using the Evening Evergreen ink pad and the large flower grouping image. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this 3 times because I've used 3 of these groupings on my cards. Next, we're going to stamp our fill-in colors. So let's begin with the Soft Succulent, which is the leaf image. And I do have, again, the large and small, and these are from the single leaf image, but they work well for these grouping images as well. Now you'll notice that there seems to be only 1 large leaf, and I did stamp the large leaf here, but I feel like it's a little too big. So I'm just going to begin with the first leaf here at the bottom with the large. Now, because the stamps that we created are kind of going to be a mirror image of the original stamps. So you're not going to get a perfect fill with these. They're kind of just a fun, quick, easy way to fill in this lined image. You'll get something that looks like that. And then let's move to the next color, which is Fresh Freesia. And for this one, we're going to use our flowers that we created. So start with the large, and you'll see here how the images don't match up perfectly. But it's just a really fun option, again, for coloring in these flowers. So that's the medium, and then here's the small we created together. And then you do need to clean those images before stamping with them again. So I've just got my Simply Chamois here, and just a quick wipe. And we'll move on to the next color, which is Pale Papaya. And then we'll work with the Polished Pink. Okay, so now that we've got all of our flowers stamped and colored, we're going to fussy cut these images out. And this is just going to take a little bit of time, so I will begin fussy cutting, and then I will probably turn the camera off and finish these off camera and then come back. So just make a small little bubble around the images as you fussy cut. I am using the same scissors I used with the rubber, and I can tell that they're kind of all gunked up. So I am going to kind of switch over to a better pair of scissors off camera and finish this fussy cutting. So you can see here how delicate that one little flower looks, and how good they all look together when you do a great job of fussy cutting them out. All right, so I will go ahead and pause the video and be right back. Okay, so I have gone ahead and fussy cut all those out, and they are ready to go on my card. So the next step is to create this background element on our Balmy Blue cardstock. So I have a piece of cardstock here that is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to pull in some scratch paper and move my other things off to the side because we're going to be doing some splattering. I've got one of my water painters, I have some Balmy Blue ink, and I'm going to use this long strip of little flowers from the Flowers of Friendship stamp set, but we're only going to be using one. So let's start with that first. So I am going to use it in Balmy Blue ink, the same color as the cardstock, and we're just going to ink up one. So you can see there that the ink is only on that one flower, and we're just stamping this randomly from the top left corner down to the bottom right corner. We're going to do a little more than normal over here on the right side because we will be trimming some of that off with this fun border die. And so we want to have a little extra there just in case we cut off 1 or 2. So now that is done, we're going to add our splatter. And I already have placed some ink from an ink refill in the lid. And I've got my large paintbrush here, and I'm just going to squeeze until I have water here in this bladder, and I'm just going to squeeze until it starts to come out, and then I'm going to flick it, and you can use your finger, you could use the lid. So sometimes I even like to use this little tool here if I don't want to get my fingers all inky, and I'm just moving the brush across the tool, and it's going to create some splatters, and I want them to just go from the top left corner down to the bottom right corner. And you'll notice I got some really large splatters, and so I can go in there with a little paper towel and soak them up if I want to have them dry a little faster. So you just put it in the center so it can pull from the middle up so that you don't actually ruin the shape of the splatter. So I like to just make a little edge and then pull it. Okay, and the rest of those can just dry by themselves off to the side. So the greeting is going to be stamped with the new Evening Evergreen color. And we're just going to place that on one of these sides here of some basic white cardstock. So nice crisp image. And then we're going to cut it out with the Tailor made tags. And these are a new die cut that's in the 2021-2022 annual catalog. And you'll notice here that it's a tag. However, on my card, it's kind of the top is on both the top and bottom. And so I will show you my technique to getting that tag to look just a little different. So the first step is to line everything up and then use some washi tape to hold it in place. And then you're just going to run this through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So it's going to start looking like the regular tag. And you'll notice here that I've placed the greeting up in the top half of the tag, so I have some space at the bottom. So now you're going to flip your die and you're going to line it up where you want it. And I'm matching the amount of space here at the top to the same space at the bottom. Then you just want to flip it over and make sure that the rest of the paper is sitting inside the die. So you can see here that here's the die edge and my paper is inside that. And then I am going to add some washi tape over. I'm going to place it up here just to hold everything in place. Now I brought in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss platform so that you can see how I do this, because if I was to run this through, there's a chance that all these little perforations here will be cut off-centered and then it won't look right. So what we're going to do is we're just wanting to cut this bottom section so that it removes this extra piece and gives us that nice shape. So you're just going to place it on the bottom plate just like before, and then your top plate, you're just going to place that edge right at that corner that you want cut. So just like that. And then you're running it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine just like this, and it's just going to cut off this top or this bottom part. So then when you lift this up and remove it from the die carefully with that washi tape, you'll see here that you've got this really nice clean edge at the bottom that matches the top. I forgot to show you really quickly all those fun tailor-made tags and how many come in this set. So you get 4 of each shape. So you have more of the scroll shape, which is what we cut, and then more of a just a corner removed shape. Then you also get these little pieces that can go over the holes. You have 4 of them here and 3 of them there. It's just a really fun die set, and it's brand new, like I said. So then we're going to be cutting this fun border, and we're going to be using another fun new die set called Basic Border Dies. And here you can see that it comes in lots of different shapes. We've got like a flag or fishtail, a nice curve, it looks like some clouds, kind of a scalloped triangle shape, and then kind of a zigzag back and forth. And then for today, I wanted to use this fun scallop shape that just kind of creates a really unique shape to the edge of this card. So all we're doing is we're just adding it to the right side of our card, and you want to make sure that it's even in the center from top to bottom. Place a little washi tape just to hold it in place. Let me just kind of measure it with my grid paper here. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on where the die cut is intersecting with the paper. So it's about 3/4 of an inch there. And right now I'm down here at 1 inch. So I want to move that so it's at 3/4 of an inch as well. So I know that everything's nice and straight. And then I kind of also want to keep an eye on where my corners are. So this corner sits about 4 squares, which is 1 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see here that I'm not exactly in this same placement. So I'm just sliding it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's inside the middle of the 5th square. 1, 2, 3, 4, and about the same there. And again, we're intersecting at the same spots. So that's just important to me so that I know that I'm in the center of my cardstock. So now I can run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So after cutting this edge, I noticed that this is a little longer, and so I probably just gave myself some extra room here just in case that I wanted to bring it in. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim off 3/8 of an inch on this side, just so that I get a final cut length right here from the corner to the next corner. That's about 2 3/4 inches. So that's the final length that I want this top edge to be. So let's go ahead and start putting this card together. We're going to start by adding a strip of evening evergreen behind our top layer. Just add a little adhesive to that one side, and then I'm going to use my grid paper because I just want 1/4 of an inch to peek out. So this is just a really easy way for me to know that I've got just that right amount. So let's add our greeting next. I'm going to place that with some dimensionals on my card first, and then I'm going to add the white twine inside these little holes. So I've just used the mini dimensionals, and I'm placing that here just next to this corner is kind of where I want this corner to go, and then it's just nice and straight along with that edge there. And then I'm going to take my twine and I'm going to measure from the hole just about a 1/2 inch or so down. And then I want to do that again so that I have that doubled. And then go ahead and cut the twine. So this first piece, let me just measure that really quick, is just about 6 inches. So I'm going to fold that in half, and I'm going to bring it, lift up that edge, and then bring it in through the hole. And then I'm going to take the tails and place it through the loop here, and then bring that down. Okay, and then this extra will just get tucked up underneath. So I'm going to do the same here for this second top side. So just kind of measure it, go a little big. It's always better to have more than less. And this one I have about 7 inches. And again, I'm going from the bottom to the top. And I guess you could string the twine through first before adding it to your card. This way I just know how much twine I need. Then on the back, I'm going to add some adhesive here on the top and bottom. So I'm going to take that twine, open up just a little bit so that you can see there are 2, and then tuck it underneath the cardstock. Just like that. So I have my Balmy Blue Cardbase. Just going to fold that in half along the score line. Then I'm going to take a piece of vellum, and the vellum's been cut to the full card front size. I'm going to add my top layer to the vellum first, and I'm going to just place it so there's about 1/4 of an inch or so on the left. So again, I can use my grid paper here. I'm going to use some liquid adhesive in the center, and then maybe some strong adhesive with my, what is this one? Stampin' Seal Plus is what I have here. I'm going to place that here. I'm going to add that to the vellum. So again, lining it up on my grid paper, place this down. I want it even on top and bottom, and then about 1/4 of an inch on the left, and then coming straight across. And then now I can add adhesive to the back of the vellum and place it on my greeting, and place it on my card base. So again, a little bit on the edges, maybe a little liquid in the middle. And then that just goes straight onto the card base like that. And I like how this vellum gives the card base underneath it just a little lighter shade so that it helps the top piece stand out. Okay, so you're going to end up with a card that looks like this. So now we can add our flowers. And to do this, I wanted the flowers to be popped up. So I'm going to place some dimensionals in each flower. And then I'm going to use my liquid glue and place a dot of liquid glue in each leaf. And that's just going to give me some fun dimension for these flowers. So the reason we did the greeting first is so that we can create a nice arch with the flowers around the greeting. So start by placing the large flower first, and then just kind of come down slowly with your finger and place the rest of the images in their correct placement. And so you're just going to kind of move that paper, press down on those leaves. So there's the first one. The next one we're going to do is the purple. This one's a little more straight. We want that large one to just kind of go at a different angle. And then we've got this pink one here. We can bring that one down and we'll just trim off any pieces that come off our card. I'm going to bring it just over a little bit more. So something like that. Tuck that under, and then the flower can kind of come up and over just to add that depth to the card. And then I'm going to come here and trim off this leaf right here with a pair of paper snips. Just going to come straight across. Just like that. And then press that down. Okay, so just a couple variations. So you'll see here that my purple one I brought in a little closer to my greeting, and then the pink one was off a little further to the left. And on this one, I pushed the purple one off to the left and brought the pink one in a little closer to center. So any placement that you add them works. Now you'll also notice that I added a little bow here at the top. All you need to do to create that is to cut about 10 inches of white twine. And then you're just going to string that underneath. Tie a knot. And then tie a bow. Then the last thing I added were some of these 2021-2022 in color jewels. And I just used the Evening Evergreen to kind of pull in that darker green color. And I've placed them just around the greeting. So maybe a couple large ones down here at the bottom, and then a small one up here at the top. And my card is all done. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this beautiful card today. For written instructions and close-up images, you can visit my blog, creativechelsea.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.